right, hold on. I gotta fix like 7 things already. Good start. Good start. It says my Wi-Fi is crap, so that's good. All right. This one. Preferred, oh, preferred band. Okay. All right, I'm gonna let people join. I'm still kind of setting a couple things up. Um, I do not have. Okay. Yeah, no, I'm gonna try. Yeah, this is. I literally get a work call absolutely last minute and wasn't very happy about that. And now I'm kind of scrambling, but I just wanted to start on time and go a little bit longer while I get this together. Um, but I can't get my mouse to work and the Wi-Fi adapter, and it seems like the Wi-Fi is going to be more important. So I'm going to be doing a little bit of this. Oh my god! Grab the right link. But yeah, no, Slate, it's 4 games, so I wanted to test it on something easy. I have some new stuff to show. Hopefully, it's gonna be useful. I'm thinking it should be better. Some things that'll be fun to kind of track and watch and look at least. And I'm gonna oh my god, I'm gonna actually snap. I just messed it up again. Video looks down too. Okay, wait, video, it's not working. Okay. This is why we test and learn. This is why. These are the reasons. I think it's honestly, I think it's the Wi-Fi. I don't know why it's being so bad. Give me 1 second. Okay, I doubt that helped. Video, audio. All right, it's better now? Okay, that's good. That is good. Okay, yeah, so gonna just go game by game. I'm gonna get the underdog slip at the end. I'm just gonna tweet it out after. I just didn't have time to run everything, so I'm kinda gonna do like a, um, more of a look and process of going over everything, and then I will post after and look at, kind of the lines while I do this. So let me post it. Let me pull up the important stuff that I wanted to show. We're gonna go game by game still, and I'm gonna start by pulling up the screen and running through this. I think this is gonna be really, really insightful, honestly. This sheet, Matt and Doug did a lot of work here, and I got it to got my R Studio cap on today and got it going. So let's present. All right, and window. I'm gonna get into it, starting with the first game, and then I'm gonna go to puck luck. Um, I don't understand this video thing. This is really starting to piss me. I don't understand. It says my Wi-Fi is good now. You know what? It doesn't matter. We're here to look at the screen. I'm just gonna take my video off. Is my screen working? Can you see the screen? That's the real question here. Because I think, all right, you know what? Give me 1 second. This might. All right, if the screen works, I don't care. Actually, I'm just gonna take myself off. I'm gonna get it fixed for next time. I think the Wi-Fi is getting better now too. I think the adapter because I unplugged it and plugged it back in. It's like still resetting or something. Anyways, though, so we have a lot of new stuff kind of in this R Studio sheet. I'm going to work on how to format this a little bit neater, or maybe if I can just go back and forth between charts. I'm just going to have to talk to Doug and Matt about like making this better. But we have a lot more just like raw data to go over. I actually like on net. So the on net percentage is their Corsi, so how many shot attempts they're taking versus the shots on net. So we can kind of go over like what players are shooting a lot and what players are not shooting a lot, what players are getting lucky and unlucky. I'm guessing after last night, Fleet Forsberg is now the highest player in the world at missing the net. So we'll go over that. But I'm going to go game by game with this first, just to kind of get us centered maybe a little bit more. With just like looking at individual players. And like I'd rather go this way, I think. Yeah, it is a nice little shiny. I do like this a lot. And I think that like going through it this way and starting here and like getting lists of players is going to be the way I'm going to do it from now on. Before I was kind of like going game first and then players, but I think honestly it probably is going to serve the exact same purpose. So starting with the Flyers and Buffalo. So this is going to be, and it should be entire screen. So let me just see if this works unless I'm on the wrong thing. Okay. That did not work, did it? All right, hold on. So I'm on the wrong share. See, this is test and learn, baby. We're gonna get there. I'm gonna share for a second. Share again. I need entire screen. Okay. Now it's going to let me go back and forth. So again, we're going to kind of go back and forth a little bit too, but we're kind of looking at what game, right? We have actually at this point, I believe it is now confirmed. We'll go back a Lukanen versus Carter Hart. Again, kind of getting us centered. Like what is Puck Luck projecting? Because I think one thing that I get hung up on, and I think a lot of other cappers can sometimes get hung up on, is like the output that's already happened is not a projection. And that definitely, and again, it doesn't mean you missed a bet because you were nearsighted in any of this. You can miss a bet for a number of reasons. Players can get hit posts and miss nets or whatnot. But when I'm gonna use puck luck a lot more to my advantage. I mean, it's been on par this year. But one thing I haven't done is really start to just take what the save projection is and then focus a little bit more on like what the player output could be. So I'm a little bit confusing maybe, but again, kind of going back and forth between these two sheets is going to be the main thing for coursing through these bets. So I Corsi per game for the first game. It's no shock. It's Owen Tippett. It's Tage Thompson. It's Jeff Skinner. Here we have the percentage of shots that are getting on net. I think it makes a lot of sense, honestly. Owen Tippett, like you watch again, watching the game is important still, and watching him play, he will take a lot of empty calorie shots and just try to shovel things on net. I think it's kind of a Flyers mentality more than anything else. We can also over here, we can look at different numbers like iCourse per 60. So maybe if we see a player that's getting a bigger role, again, I'll just predecess this. This is going to be more of a teaching, I guess, episode than just me kind of really running through. But the reason we use per game instead of per 60 is it will really highlight players that aren't playing as much. And it will, it'll be a negative for players that are getting enough ice. Like it doesn't matter if a player's playing 25 minutes, but he's shooting at a lower clip versus a guy playing 12 minutes, you should still probably want to look at and bet the guy playing 25 minutes. And per game is going to reward those players and just give you a better outlook on it's just a better metric in my opinion for betting, but I've used both of them. So again, we have a lot more math to go through. I'm not going to go through everything. I also really like this PDO metric. So this is basically saying like what a player's, like how unlucky they've been. And some players, it makes more sense. Like I'm not like Payson Jost and Owen Power are not the best goal scorers in the world if they have the opportunity to put the puck on net, just being quite honest. But this will be a good opportunity if we see players that are getting really, really unlucky. Just adding another metric to what I've been using before quite often, which again, I'm kind of getting new to this. The delta, where is it now? It doesn't matter. I'm using like the fantasy. I don't see it. I'm gonna maybe it's not in here now. Maybe it's over here. I might have to ask Matt. It might be out of this, but I have the other sheet if I need to pull it up. But the other thing we were using was basically what is the DraftKings fantasy output comparatively to what it should have been. And this is just like another way of looking at unlucky players. So just a few things I'm going to be going over and looking at. I really like using tools like this. And then we're going to be using puck luck to our advantage. So again, starting goalies for this game, Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen, Carter Hart. You can see though, it still kind of shades that like Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen is going to be bad. And even if we believe that or we don't believe that, it's kind of up to us. And again, the next step on all of this, like a lot of this plus the puck luck model and all of this together is leading towards what I'd hope to do one day, which would allow us to kind of change and to put our own inputs in so we can actually predict based on whatever outcome we want, which would be better for DFS. But again, this is just going to be very median outputs, which is what we want for betting, which is why a lot of this could be focused on that. So the point of everything I just said is that I'm leaning towards going with the Sabre tonight. I think there'll be more shots on net, Carter Hart, more save opportunity. And that is kind of leading me to Tage Thompson and Jeff Skinner. And I'm fine with either of them. So I'm just going to kind of like write them down for now. I don't have it up in front of me. This is one thing I didn't get right away. So I'll give you another tutorial. If you're new to this, if you ever go to Matt Fake Moods, my podcast partner, and you go to his lists and you go to whatever team you want, it has all the beat reporters right in there. And if we're missing any of them, you can always send it over to me and I will be happy to add whoever you want. But this is a good way to scroll through, go back long enough, and double check what the lineup is. That's not the lineup. So I do this basically every morning, which is why we're kind of hours past when I normally do this. It's normally right up front. But I find the lineup. And sometimes, the problem is Twitter's pretty broken now, so it's kind of hard to figure out. But If you want to find this, I know I retweeted it too. I could just go to my profile, but it's a mess. Anyways, though, oh, it's my birthday too. Happy birthday to me. Forgot about that. Thank you, Twitter, for reminding me. It is whatever, right? Honestly, it doesn't even matter that much. Like, I'm still looking at Buffalo, and I think that I'm going to be betting one of them for the parlay over a guy on the Flyers. And if I'm going with a Flyer, I made the case already. I think it's Owen Tippett without a doubt. Like, I don't really think there's anyone else that I'm all that interested in. We could take a look at point props, and I'll post all of this at the end when I'm betting. This is just going to be, like I said, a bit more process related, and I will tweet some of this stuff out once I get everything squared away. Like I said, I think I'm missing a couple metrics I want. Now we'll just go to the next thing. I'm just going to get I'm writing down Skinner for now. I think honestly that might be where I end up, and I'm going to write down Tage, and I'm going to write down Tippett, and I'm going to look more into other things next. So what is next? You may be saying whatever the next game is on the docket. Very unorganized right now, so gonna need to have all this up in the future. Dallas and Calgary. Now Calgary made a lot of changes. Zari is going to be in. Zari, whatever it is. First NHL start for him, and that definitely changed up the lineup a pretty good bit. So I'm going to just sort this by iCourse per game and iCourse per 60. And again, you're kind of seeing guys jump up that are not like a difference in these, which is always interesting to me, to see like players that are getting less minutes and kind of getting this big bump. And again, it does help you sometimes to see like, okay, what player, if they move up the lineup, might be useful. If, your Daniel Sprongs of the world, like if they get more minutes, okay, they're getting more minutes now. They're getting more power play run. This is a guy I'm really interested in betting on. Okay, so I don't think it's going to be too crazy. This game, I don't honestly. I'm not in love with for pace. I don't have the pace stuff up right now. So Matt's sheet I don't have yet, and he's going to work on it. It's going to be in Discord. So I'll probably be just giving that one last look before I place any bets. But again, where are the saves coming from? This feels like a pretty low event game based on puck luck. I agree with that. So should be one of those games where if the goals are coming, maybe oh my God, not now Siri. Maybe the pace gets up more, but I really don't love this game for goals, and I'm a little bit more interested in efficiency. So I'm kind of leaning towards a point prop here. It might be a game, again, I don't go too crazy on, and just maybe a bet or two. I don't have the book up right now. Like I said, I got pretty sidetracked and behind, but I wanted to do this on time today. So I'm going to just post the bets after, just kind of go process. But I do think I'm leaning towards going with a point prop here. And we have this game for 6.15. So again, I just think there'll be more efficiency than volume here. And that's what I'm going to rely on. So going to take a couple looks, pull back up the metric. Let's see who's been unlucky. Let's take a look at, you'll never guess it. I'm almost going to guarantee it. Nazem Kadri. Okay, well, I guess he hasn't. Oh, the entire Dallas team, actually, now that you mention it, has been unbelievably unlucky. It's really funny to look at, like the on-ice save percentage for their entire team. That's pretty crazy, actually. Like they have just been, yeah, that's wild. They really can't buy a break. I really think I'm going to end up looking at Joe Pavelski pretty hard here and giving him, maybe the point prop. I'm going to look at what the number is and compare it to puck luck. I think it's paywall, but you know what? Let's take a look here. We'll take a look at. So if you're not enrolled in the good graces of puck luck, and you, I think, can't see this stuff, but it does go over what our projections are for their point prop. So a guy like Joe Pavelski, we have at minus 203, and it's just a good comparer for it. Am I betting something with value, or am I just betting something to bet it? Does give shot on goal projections. They're likely going to come in pretty low overall often. And that is honestly, in my opinion, probably more accurate than not. But again, I'm writing down Pavelski for a point right now. And like I said, this has been an incredibly unlucky team in Dallas, and they Pavelski's actually been very good by most of the metrics and just not been rewarded. I know in the last game. So one thing, again, if you look at the last game, you'll see some of their players had, like Robertson had 2 points, Hintz had 2 points, Pavelski had 0. So I will definitely, if I see that, I always go to hockeyviz.com as long as it's 24 hours past the game, this will be free. But if you need it immediately, and I pay for it myself, um, you can look at this stuff though. Like I said, at this point, it would be free and just see like, okay, so Pavelski was on the ice for both of these goals because you see this blue dot. That means that he was out there for it. Down here, goal 4, player assist, player goal. So just kind of showing what that means. And he just didn't get an assist. And again, that's often pretty luck based. He led them in ice time for forwards. He's on the first power play. Like again, I don't really want to bet on. I don't look at the raw output and say, well, that's going to happen again. Like I would rather try to find out the market's going to move away from him getting a point now. We have the total, I believe, what the books have as well. So I think there'll be efficiency here. Like, what is the bet that's going to be the best priced? Again, if you're parlaying it, though, it still needs to freaking hit. And that's something that, again, I'm trying to make sure I'm staying cognizant of. I mean, there's probably bets on the board that I think are better odds, like a power play point, for example. Might be I have a better odd for it, but if I'm parlaying it, it's still very unlikely to happen. So I hope that makes enough sense as like what I'm looking at here. And again, I can't look at the Delta fantasy points in here. Can I pull them both up at the same time, or is my Wi-Fi just going to have an absolute aneurysm? Let's see. I think it's just on the other sheet. So give me 1 second. I'm going to pull this over here and see if it works. And if it doesn't work, I'm just going to abandon ship very fast. No, everything seems to work. So Delta fantasy point per game. It's DraftKings scoring. It's not perfect, and eventually I think it'll be better because we can't say like, oh, this player actually like could have had more points because the shot that they missed was, it's like it's hard to say like what missed shot is better than another. Like what like a shot that got blocked would have hit the, you know what I mean? So it's kind of hard to say like exactly. But looking at Dallas, so Joe Pavelski, has not been unlucky. Okay, interesting. So he really hasn't been unlucky he's been actually the luckiest player. I assumed he would be more unlucky. So expected fantasy points, he's actually outproducing them. That is interesting. I guess 6 points, whatever. I'm not going to get too minute here. I still think it's going to be Pavelski for a point. Anything better than minus 200. That's where I'm leaning on here. So we can pull up the Flames as well. Oh my God, I'm typing on the wrong keyboard. Take a look at both teams at the same time and see how Nazem Kadri's been very unlucky in the fantasy realm. 2 points on the gear. That's tough to do. So yeah, again, looking at point props in this game, there's a couple. Like I just think there'll be more avenues for success in a parlay through point props than there will be through shots on goal. Like I think less players will hit. And again, you can go under. You can look at things and try to find your way into an under bet. And I'm sure I should do more of that. But I have to take a deeper look. And again, the last thing I want to show here is to go over to this. I know I retweeted pretty recently. Happy birthday, DJ. Thank you. Where are the Flames? Because the Flames made some changes. I will tell you that. There it is. So Huberdeau, Lindholm, Mangiapane, Hunt, Backlund, Coleman, Sharangovich, Kadri, and Zari. So I think Connor Zari can play. I'm not too nervous about it. Like I still think Nazem Kadri is probably about the guy you're looking at here. I think that's a fine line. They do spread the wealth a pretty good bit through this lineup. And again, I'm finding it really hard to find a perfect like this is the guy for shots here. And I'm finding it hard on Dallas to be like, oh, they're going to come through this guy, We saw last game, Jason Robertson just didn't even get close to getting there. He had 2 late, but just didn't get there. Another useful tip for Hockey Viz, again, like I can look at the raw numbers all I want, but Hockey Viz will give me a little more context. So I can see like what missed shot was a post, for example. So if I see, a lot of purple on a guy, it's like, man, that guy was really freaking close. The bigger the square 2 should be, I believe, and I could be corrected on this, but it should indicate that it was a more dangerous chance, is my belief on that. Like this missed net could have truly been like a backhander from nowhere. I thought that's how it's supposed to work, but I might ask honestly to make sure. But again, you see Jason Robertson, it wasn't like he had, missed the net 7 times. The guy just wasn't all that relevant at 5-on-5. The checkered pass means power play. So 5-on-5, he was pretty useless. Um, that's a tough look. Really, the entire line, even though they scored, it wasn't generating an unbelievable amount of opportunities against the Blue Jackets, which is cause for concern. You really want to be doing a little bit better against Columbus, if I do say so myself. And again, not everyone cares about this stuff. They also have line matchup stuff too, so you can even go a step further. I think a one-game sample size is really, really hard to ever use and feel good about. Like, but if we ever notice trends that last long enough, like if we just saw, let me look at what we got here. So if you look on the Dallas side, if we see like the Robertson line was 100% against, Werenski and Severson, it looks like they were against them quite a bit by the size of this, but not to an incredible degree. But if we knew, like, man, this team is really hard matching with this pairing and it's been doing incredibly well, that's when you can start to maybe get a little bit more into matchups and home ice stuff. But again, I think a lot of that stuff adds a bit too much noise for what it's worth. So, anyways, long look into that. And I'm still leading towards Joe Pavelski at this point. And again, I'm just going to post all the bets after this. I'm going way over on time, and I'm going to post all the bets after this. The next game, St. Louis and Colorado. I mean, man, I don't know why, but Puck Luck has just really been just loving the Blues. I have to assume that's going to be a pretty large edge. Um, let's take a look. Yeah, it's pretty big. The books definitely doesn't think the Blues have much of a chance. I'm not sure if it's assuming Cale Makar or those guys are out. We just don't know still. Um, I could see a scenario where you take this Blues plus 1.5, and I think that's going to be the puck luck bet of the day at this point. I'll wait for Jay on that, but he may have already posted it while I'm doing this. But yeah, I definitely am intrigued. I think that line's probably pretty good. It's any news on Makar? We still don't know. They coach. He didn't practice, but the coach said they were gonna. Look, he did. I think they tested it. I think he said he tested it, and they were still not sure. So it might be one that you just wait, and I think you could beat the book to the punch. So if you're waiting and saying like I don't want to do it unless I know Makar is out, I'll be retweeting it. I mean, you can go again back to what I showed you before. You could do one of these. I've done this in the past where you go to okay, scroll all the way up, and you go to Colorado and you say, okay, who is the best beat reporter that gives the lines the fastest? And you just turn on notifications, and they'll let you know pretty as soon as possible. Evan guys normally gets the lines out there pretty easily. So who is in tonight? You know what? Let's go to. I think it's paywalled. Let's look. Might be paywalled. It might kick me off. I mean, this says Taves and Makar. So, so he's believing they're both in, but we're gonna see. Again, that's a guy you can just turn on there. You can click on this and click on this and say, where is it? I don't even know. Maybe because I don't follow him, I can't. But follow him first, and then you can turn on notifications, and then you'll get it as soon as it comes out. You can beat the book to the punch if that's what you're into. If that's the way you want to bet. But yeah, I think it's probably likely Makar is in. If those beat reporters are saying it, I trust them over me. I think it's again. I mean, this game also just kind of screams over. It screams point bets again. And if we look at last game, I believe it's going to stick. Where are they? Well, actually, no, they changed it since Buffalo. So, you know what? Let's go back to this again. I'm betting he's right on this. So it's Lehtinen, McKinnon, and Rantanen. I am going to find it hard to believe I come off Lehkonen for a point. Top power play, top line with those two. That is hard to pass up. If the odds are anything even remotely close to, what they should be, it probably should be more than minus 200 on that. Let me look on my phone. I'm not on camera. I can do that. I'm guessing, yeah, minus 195 is pretty steep, but I still think that is pretty good. Like I'm not too worried when both line mates are like even money for over 1.5. Like it's hard to assume that guy can't get one past himself too. Like I don't mind the goal scorer prop. I'd shop it, but anything above like plus 220, maybe 220 range, I think is pretty good for Lehkonen. And I don't know, I already showed it once, so cat's out of the bag. We'll just go back to Colorado quick and see what they have themselves. But I think Lehkonen point, Pavelski point, and Skinner shots are the three as of right now. It's 190. It's 190. Right on the line. We're projecting him for a point. Sometimes you just eat a little chalk and you take a guy that is just an unbelievable spot. Shots on goal wise for this game, I'm still leading. Like I would go with either Lehkonen or Rantanen. The minus 145 on McKinnon's pretty out of hand. Like that's a lot to pay for 5 shots. And I know he has the volume. We pull back R one more time. We're down to the final 2 games here. So we'll go back to our, I guess it won't run both sheets at the same time. It kicked off the other one. So I'll run the new one, which is this one, I think. I'm really not sure. Let's find out. So if you're joining right now, yes. So here's the new one. It's going to take a minute to load for sure. Let me put in Colorado though. Only this will kick it into gear. I'll go back to something else for a second. So again, I know, the Blues are a fine bet too. We can take a look at what the Blues have here. But again, this is just a good, this isn't the end all be all. Like in my opinion, it's really, really hard to model for like shots and points for a projection. Because things change so fast. So it's like, how fast can a model adjust without you manually kind of inputting? So, okay, let me try to break this down a little bit less like nerdy. No, I think that's a good way to put it. Like, how fast can you get a model to figure something out without really tinkering with it, and now making it not really what it's intended to do? So it's useful, and I use it, and we look at this stuff, and it's still really valuable and a good way to, check your priors. Like, and definitely, I'm not saying that like this is wrong in any capacity. I do think it's going to come in pretty low on guys, and it's going to be lower on guys that are changing roles quickly, because it's just really hard to get a model to like understand. Again, it takes time, but it just, again, this is all back to say that I don't think there's one player prop on the Blues that I'm really all that into. It's not crazy to say. I don't really love this team. I think that the best case scenario is that the model's right and that the Blues are actually somewhat competitive in this game. And if Makar isn't at 100% as well, it could just give even more opportunity to guys shooting on the power play and being more interactive, like a Terry Lehkonen, who obviously they think the world of as they move him up to the top line with McKinnon and Rantanen. So again, I just don't think you need to reinvent the wheel on this game to win a bet. Like I'm going with Lehkonen for a point or shots, and I think it's just going to be, on a parlay. I think you just go even safer here and just take the Lehkonen point and live the fight another day. So final game, actually, well, let me pull up the thing that I waited to load. Is it here? Here it is. So McKinnon has been shooting at an absolutely nauseating pace, but I think the books have him marked pretty correctly. Lehkonen just not really shooting enough. But again, 76% of his shots are getting on net. So either he's doing something incredibly right or he's due for some regression. Either way, I don't think 2.5 is inherently wrong. But again, I think variance comes for us all. And I think he has a good shot. Like, it's not like this doesn't pass the eye test when you watch him play. Like, I think he can produce, that kind of, maybe he's just being more selective for a reason. Again, I am just going to be like, you know what, that's enough to scare me into just saying I'm not going to add a ton of variance to a parlay. He's not shooting enough for me to feel safe. And if he, doesn't get as many on net for whatever reason, he hits the post, etc., you'll completely burn a parlay for no reason. While on the other hand, I think a guy like Rantanen is due for a bit more positive regression in this end. So I would just rather kind of go with a guy like that. And oftentimes defensemen are going to be much lower because they're shooting from further away, which is more difficult. Makes logical sense. And there's really no one else here that like I'm trusting. I think Valerie Bertushin's getting a bit of a rise. Another thing I'll be doing in the future is kind of stipulating how many games. This is the amount of games. So we kind of look at a little bit more in depth of the more recent, like last 2 or 3 games to see if players' role changes. Question here. Biggest probably ever hit on. That's a good question. I mean, I think, wow. I want to say 9, maybe 10. I've never hit, the 14, 15. I mean, if I hit a $70,000 bet, that would just be out of this world. And again, the way I do it every time, and I try to show it but again, I'm not going to show it completely because it would just be like, why would he ever tweet 9 pictures? But I round robin almost everything. So normally I try to get 4 or 5 or 6 core bets that I like the most. Today, only 4 games, so not too hard. And I round robin them with varying degrees of money. I don't like to tell people like unit or it just to me like betting should be fun and it should be enjoyable. And the best part of betting is winning. So I want to give you the best information, but bet however you want. Round robin, if you don't use it, works like this. You take every combination of the mix of bets you have. So every, two legs are together, every three legs are together, every combination of those. So depending on how many you have, so that way, if you hit 5 of 6 legs, you're going to get a nice payout. You're going to actually profit a pretty good bit. And instead of just completely holding the bag. And normally, depending again, how much you're willing to risk, you can take away a little bit from that full leg parlay, add a little bit more elsewhere and play around with those numbers to what you're comfortable with. If you're saying I'm only doing $80 tonight, for example, like bet that how you want in that round robin based on how much you are risk adverse to, the potential payout being as high as possible. So if you ever have any more questions on that, I can kind of post something, I guess, when I bet it to show you. But any yeah, no, I just again like for me, I think it's a better way of doing things, but bet however you want. Like some people tell me, I straight bet everything you do and nothing else. And I'm sure you're way better off. Like I guarantee it, 100%. I should every night say to you, mathematically, you should just straight bet these and go to bed and win a little bit at a time, and you'll be better off in the long run. My brain is broken from DFS, and I'm going to every single night try to hit something massive. I might only put $5 or $10 on it, but whatever. If there's any questions about that, put it in the comments. I'm going to move on to the final game. I think it actually, again, I'm kind of trying to take little notes here as I'm doing this. I think it works best. And again, what I'm going to do in the future actually is I'm going to try to make PowerPoint each day. I kind of a little busy today with a bunch of stuff. So I'm going to try to like put all of this together first for each game, and then it'll be a little bit easier. Yeah. Yeah. No, and I think honestly, again, like bet what is the most fun. Like winning is the most fun, obviously. Like we're all, but like I think a lot of people get a little bit too in the weeds on, well, what is this better unit? It's like, listen, I feel like it should be pretty easy to tell what people are making things up and what people aren't making things up. And if they're making things up and it's working, maybe there is a system they're doing it, and I don't know it, right? It doesn't really matter to me. If they're winning bets, good for them. I don't care. But without like, I think that a lot of that can be manipulated very easily, and we've seen it with a lot of different people online that I just don't care about it. And I'm not going to post it or do anything. I just don't care. I'm just going to put it all out there. I'm going to put all the math, and I'm going to have everything here on Puck Luck that we did. And that's going to be how it works. Yeah, so actually I haven't drafted any underdog tonight. It's actually been kind of a war zone with me at work. And I'm going to get to that as soon as we're done here. I'm going to draft as many as possible before it closes. Why is it the McTavish line? I mean, probably not. And again, we haven't even, let's pull up the game here. And honestly, this is, you know what? Here we go. Underdog fantasy projections. Here you go. You wanted it. Okay. I think Jay's working on it right now. That means, okay, you wanted it. You didn't. Oh, no. Okay. Positions are working now. Okay. So here you go. So Dallas won. I think we're looking at Dallas won. Let's go over here. It's Dallas won. There you go. Dallas won. Colorado won. Far and away, your best lines tonight. I don't think you could put it all together. I haven't drafted once. Okay, Josh Manson. Yep. So there it is. We know right now it's not including Cale Makar in anything. So let's take a little bit of this with a grain of salt. This is actually a good way to know for sure because he's not listed, but Bowen Byram is. Okay, so we're saying Cale Makar is out in this right now and everything that we've done. So again, I don't think anything is inherently wrong with the Lehkonen bet. Like, why would Lehkonen not be better if Cale Makar is in for a point? I think it probably helps him more than it hurts him. But again, and I think this Carter Hart thing is probably correct. Like, if you assume the Sabres are shooting like I think they will be, Carter Hart for saves is fine as well. Like, I think your optimal build is looking more Carter. I think these two goalies here could be really how I'm going after it in the late rounds. And then I'm just sort of trying to get as much Colorado and the Stars as possible. So there you go. Answered your question. I mean, to probably just too high of a degree. But let's get back to the game projection. So and again, I think as I showed with the goal is, I'm fine either side of this game for looking at props, and I do love Mason McTavish tonight for sure. It's not that I don't love him. I mean, he's a good late round pick here. I'm sure I'm underdog. Let's look at the last game. But do we know on Leo Carlson yet? That actually, that's something I didn't look at. Well, let's do it live. Man, how long over have I gone? I've only gone 20 minutes over. That's not so bad. Let's look. Roster moves. No. Where is it? Anyone in the comments if you know if he's out? Did they say? Oh, he's in. All right, Leo Carlson's in. So it's good to know. Every slate with Anaheim, we're gonna have to know. So let's look at the last game and go from there. McTavish for Toronto. Okay, so these will be the lines. I love this top line, honestly. This Carlson Terry Zegras thing. I really think this Leo Carlson guy, it's gonna be a fun debate between him and Fantilli because he can play. We'll look at the numbers in a second here. I mean, they got first off, poor Pittsburgh. Oh boy. Not fun. I mean, this is a bit of a crime to Anaheim because I don't think they were as bad as this little bar shows. McTavish was unbelievable, though, as you see here. I mean, these are all individual shots. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 shot attempts. Pretty good stuff. That line was cooking, and the first line is mixed in here. None of them really produced enough high octane offense to get there, but okay, that's fine. We're not worried. We're not worried about Pittsburgh today. We moved on to Arizona. So let's pull up one. Arizona and Anaheim. Okay. And then I think the underdog slip is gonna have to come later. Next time I promise, and I do this tomorrow. I'm gonna try to get things together, but I will have the underdog slip to start the show. I'd like to do it that way, I think, where I show the slip, I show everything that kind of went into my process, and then that process and kind of going through everything again, we get to the best bets and then kind of touch on a few things along the way. So Vetrano, Terry McTavish, colors there too. Hayton's been pretty unlucky if I recall correctly. But let's look at the PDL. Yeah, no one's drafting Tippett. Okay, sorry, no one can see the comments but me. McTavish has been unlucky too. Interesting. We'll run through some. I mean, okay, it doesn't really matter. Okay, let's go to this and then. Okay, we got to keep an eye on this defenseman here, Pavel. This guy is, if he gets enough run, we may really start looking at him a little bit more. Okay. Expected goals. This is really the metric I was thinking of before. This might actually just be the delta expected goals difference. So this is how I cannot believe Toronto. It's going the other way. So positive. I again, this is all, some of this stuff is new and they've retooled what they are. So I'm gonna have to run through a couple of these. I'm kind of just like learning. I've had this for like 3 hours now. Okay. Let's get back to the Corsi and then the on net. Again, I think this stuff is actually pretty cool. I'm not sure how many people are showing the percentage of shots on net. That is a lot of fun. So no one seemingly out of this world, unlucky or lucky. But Toronto, Terry, and McTavish are all above every player on Arizona. I like both of these teams pretty even tonight for shots. But let's just go back to puck luck one more time and see if there was a discernible difference. I don't remember, honestly. I feel like it was decently close for save percentage, save projection. Okay, so Anaheim looks a little bit better anyways, which again is kind of confirming more of our priors that maybe the Ducks are the team to target here. And if we go off last game, boy, is Mason McTavish probably pretty juicy. Plus money too on the 2.5. That might just be it. I'm fine with point prop here too, though. Probably he would. Taking a look, I mean, Leo Carlson is fine at -115, McTavish -110. Yeah, this game seems a little bit interesting. The other thing that I thought about before we started, and again, I know we're going to have to go. I can't imagine Anaheim's making any changes here. They just beat a pretty good team. But no, they mixed them up pretty good. What website is what? You said what website is this? Which one's what? I have like 3 sites open. None of them are Evolving Hockey. This is Hockey Viz. This is Puck Luck. Some of this stuff is paywall I'm showing, but not all of it. and then this is in our studio script. It's all coming from Natural Stat Trick, if that's what you mean, but this is all our studio. So um, it's pulling specific stuff and putting things together automatically from Natural Stat Trick to help, you know, find interesting things and notes and stuff. And I did not have time to do like anything beforehand, unfortunately, today. I don't need to get into it. It doesn't matter. It's just work, you know. Got to work a full time job sometimes. Just the way the news goes. But the thing I was going to look at, and oh yeah, like and comment. Or I always forget that like this is something I should be pushing harder, and then I wouldn't have to work all day, and I could just do this all day. Be a lot more fun. The power play point props are what I was interested in, and it just seems like this game in general, it's very all over the map. Boy, it feels like one that you could take like 4 Anaheim guys and feel good about, but man, they're really spreading the wealth here. Let's go to Arizona quickly. There's just a lot of times how I like to look at power play stuff in general. I what a team is doing on a night to night basis on their power play could vary, obviously. Like, are they going to run 2 units or they're going to run 1 unit? And things can definitely get a bit in the weeds. But when we're looking at median projections, we like to see a bit more purple lines for a power play before we get kind of going crazy here. So, Peyton, Keller, Cooley. Okay. Who else? Anyone interesting? No, this is pretty much par for the course. So, nothing that interesting for or for Arizona. This might be worse than I thought. But again, this is just at this point, I'm at 40 minutes. I'm going to shut it down here in a second. I just kind of wanted to go through some of the process today more than anything, and just kind of get ideas in my head for what I'm going to do in the future. My goal, like I said, is going to be to kind of put this together beforehand in either a PowerPoint or just sort of like have it together to start. And I think I got a good idea for how I want to do this now. But before I go, any questions or any thoughts on what you'd like to see, or anything you saw that you're like, please include this, or anything you saw that you're like, I don't understand that. And you could just DM me too, be like, hey, you showed this one thing. I have no idea what the heck you were talking about. And I'd be happy to show and share. But yeah, so this more of a process and getting ready. Like I said, this is a test and learn. We're gonna get there though, and I'm going to, once I get everything together too, I might just end up trying to make a graphic board, but I'm worried about how that's going to show. So I might do a power. I mean, again, there'll be next time will be a bit of a test and learn too. I don't want to like cement this into everything. And then my ultimate goal is going to be to, I guess, download TikTok for the first time. And then like at the end, I'm just going to put the back card up and run through it one last time. And that's just going to like go on TikTok or whatever. It's not going to be flashy. I'm not going to be screaming and yelling and taking my pants off. I'm just literally going to be like, yep, that's that. Here's the bet card. This is why. Enjoy. And maybe put like a couple of the things I showed along the way if I get better at actually doing this stuff. But wait, what? Sorry. Thanks as always. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. No, I'm literally going to start drafting immediately. Right before I eat my birthday dinner. So yeah, we'll get to that. And I also have like 9 notifications. So yeah, today we're good. Okay. Yeah, no hockey. Yeah, this I'll go more into it. I think Hockey Viz is like a godsend. Micah is the best. He is always very, very attentive on Twitter as well. So if there's something that I can't explain, I'm sure he'll answer. Definitely a follow Ineffective Math. He just basically posts a lot of good hockey stuff, and this is very, very useful. It also helps us a lot of times when we're talking about stuff, and maybe you're thinking like, why did they think that line change was going to happen? It's only because of this. We like, oh, they changed it last game, and now they're doing that, and then it worked. So okay, cool. We're good. So that's kind of how, again, you can kind of get ahead of the curve sometimes. But I know props aren't posted early enough. All right, I'm going to keep talking because I'll never stop until I'm done. But yeah, so I'm not going to look at my notifications right now. They're a mess because I tweeted something stupid, I guess, about what's his name, Shane Pinto. I guess people didn't like that. I don't know. I guess I just don't get it. Like, I thought he just like bet on a football game. Maybe I'm wrong, but if I'm wrong, I just don't care anymore. I thought like he bet on a football game. Like well, actually what I thought, I guess I'll just say it. I thought what they were saying is that he told someone else to bet for him on football. And now it sounds like, from everyone's telling me, that he placed a bet for someone else It could have been on hockey. I just don't even understand. The whole thing is confusing to me. Maybe I was just wrong. I thought that was a bit egregious myself. Like 41 games? I don't know. But okay. If I'm wrong, okay. Um, any of this stuff though, yeah, this whole R thing is not like out there, but a lot of, I mean, these numbers are feeding into a model that's predicting on Puckluck. So sign up for puckluck.com. And we're going to be doing giveaways and things in the future for subscribers that are following on all the channels and whatnot, and then posting things in Discord. It's going to kind of continue to grow, but we just kind of wanted to make sure Puckluck was 100% ready. And as you can see, like it's close. A lot of things are functioning very, very well now for anyone that subscribed day one to now. Like we hope the experience is only getting better for you, but there are things on there that still sometimes, like I showed at the very beginning when I clicked on the fantasy stuff, that are just a little bit it's all being worked on. Like everything is getting updated, right? Like we're still working on it. And as we're doing that, we're going to start introducing more content to kind of go along with it. But all right, I'm going to sign off now. So from just me, because I don't think Matt will join very often at all, have a good slate, everybody. And we will see you in the underdog lobby.